Hello, hello, hello. I wonder if I'm being heard well. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Giving Tuesday, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to get this. Normally, I'm here with our social media manager, Isis, but it'll just be me today. Founder and CEO of EmbraceHerLegacy, Maria I. Melendez, or you follow me on Instagram at the Inspirational Homegirl. And I'm just going to pin a comment if I can. Let me see. I don't think I can because I don't think I have the link. But you know what? That's what a team is for. I'm just going to wait for Isis to come on. And, okay. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to give it one more minute to pin the comments with the opportunity to give. How's everyone doing tonight? Well, I'm gonna get started, guys, because it is 8:02. I'm sure a lot of you have had long days. So I'm gonna get started. And hopefully anyone who misses anything can start from the beginning. Anyone who misses anything can just check us out on the replay on YouTube. I'll be uploading this onto YouTube as well. So hello to the people on YouTube if you're watching this on the replay. And yeah. All right, guys. So I'm going to just get started. And I'm excited. Honestly, this is the first time I think I've shared this story behind EmbraceHerLegacy. It is Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. And it is Giving Tuesday. And I find it really funny that after you have spent your money on Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Thanksgiving, because let's be honest, Thanksgiving is expensive nowadays. Groceries have gone up after you Cyber Mondayed, and then they've extended the sales now. After you've exhausted and depleted your funds, it's like, hey, give to the organizations that you believe in and support. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Giving Tuesday, it's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, after Cyber Monday, after Small Business Saturday, and after Black Friday, where we just not raise funds, but it's an opportunity for you to give. Yes, as nonprofits, we raise funds, but an opportunity for you to give into different nonprofit organizations and just community organizations that are doing good work. Whether it is an organization like EmbraceHerLegacy, maybe even your local parish, or whatever causes it is that you want to support. This is the opportunity for you to support financially by making your best gift or contribution and donating either your time, your money, even your talent in some way, shape, or form. So that is what Giving Tuesday is about. And to be honest, I didn't know much about Giving Tuesday myself until, I'm going to say maybe like 9-10 years ago. I started learning about it. And my goal is to educate more of us about the opportunity to give in Giving Tuesday, especially if you're not in this nonprofit giving sector. But a little bit about me. So I like to say I'm a Brooklyn girl, just changing the world one girl at a time. For those of you who don't know, my name is Maria I. Melendez. I'm founder and CEO of EmbraceHerLegacy. I am the girls and the young women who participate in our programs. I'm their lead instructor. I'm a speaker. I like to say I'm a motivational speaker. I just like to say I'm a public speaker. I learn, so I teach. on stages. We have a podcast. I'm an author, a lot of things, a mentor to dozens of the young women who participate in our programs. And I also am the CEO of a boutique brand marketing agency called The Business Daycare. And what we do at Embrace Her Legacy, our mission statement is that we really equip women and girls with the tools needed to overcome internal and external challenges and fulfilling a purpose-driven legacy. And we do that primarily through different programs, social emotional development programs, workshops, coaching, mentorship for millennial women and Gen Z girls, with an emphasis on serving millennial and Gen Z girls of color. We are celebrating next year, 2025, 10 years, a decade of our flagship program, the Embrace Her Legacy Academy, which is our really immersive and intense leadership development, personal development, and social emotional development program for young women ages 14 to 19. We have had, I believe, 12 cohorts participate. We were based in New York City, but we went virtual and national. It's starting in 2020, which was one of the silver linings about being in the pandemic. We were able to really impact young women all over this country. I think we've had girls participate from over 16 states, 15 cities. And so we've become a national organization doing that as well. So that's just kind of a gist of what we do at Embrace Her Legacy. I love what I do, and I'm going to tell you exactly how we got here. And again, I've never shared this on a public platform, so my hope is that, one, I got tissue right here, because normally when I share this story, I cry, but I'm going to try to hold back the tears for you guys today. A little bit about how Embrace Her Legacy started. So, to know me, like I said, is I like to consider myself a Brooklyn girl, and I act like one. I like to consider myself, I got a little bit of swag. I got, the inspirational homegirl. I'm part inspiration and part homegirl. And I embody that, right? But honestly, my story with Embrace Her Legacy, I'm going to be honest with you guys, started when I was actually 11 years old, and I didn't realize that until recently. One of my board of directors challenged me because we're working on, we're working on a few events for 2025, and one of them is a conference, which I'll get into in a second. And he was asking me the why behind Embrace Her Legacy and seeking Embrace Her Legacy support. And normally when I tell the Embrace Her Legacy story, and for those of you who know me, know my career actually started in the music and entertainment industry. I worked at a major record label doing some marketing and radio promotion, and I had a very high profile career. So that's normally where I start the story. But after doing some thinking, I realized that my zeal and my affinity for working with young women started at 11 years old, right? So at 11 years old, I met my first mentor. Didn't know she would be. Her name is Jacinda. And if she follows, and she's still my sister to this year, someone I consider my sister to this day. I was 11 years old, not too long ago. That was just the other day. But I met her when I was 11. I remember she was dating my brother, my older brother at the time. And I remember I was just acting out. And like 11-year-olds do. And she got on the phone with me at 11, and then she's quite older than me, about 9-10 years older. And she said to me, if you keep acting up, you'll just end up on the 12th floor. And I knew what she meant. So I'm from the projects, New York City public housing. And what she said is, and we lived on the 11th floor, she said, I knew what she meant. You're just going to end up like the rest of the people from your community. And you're just going to end up upstairs. And I remember at my little 11-year-old self saying, I don't want that. It connected and it resonated with me. She didn't sugarcoat things. She told me like it was. And I was like, oh, she's right. All right, let me get my act together. And I like her. Who is this girl? Over the next couple of years, we cultivated like a big sister, younger sister relationship. Honestly, she was my first mentor. So she would take me to her college campus, and then when she graduated school, she would take me to her, New York City apartment. It was giving real like Sex in the City, but the Lower East Side version. That's what it was. She introduced me to brunch, and real brunch. Like, I don't know nowadays, if y'all don't know, sometimes brunch now can be a whole day party. I got bamboozled one time when someone invited me to brunch at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It looked like it was 4 o'clock in the morning. And I walked in and I'm expecting Anita Baker and pancakes, and it was Megan Thee Stallion and something else. So, but back in our day, we did brunch, restaurant, just music, arts, education, and all the things. And it was just my exposure to the world outside of East New York, Brooklyn. You can only think to the level that you're exposed to. And Jacinda graciously exposed me to this another world. We would go to her house, she would cook, all the things, and I'm like, wow. Now, fast forward when I was 17 years old, unfortunately, I tried to end my own life, and I had a failed suicide attempt, and this is normally when the tears start coming, but hopefully they stop. They don't come this time. And I remember in that hospital when I woke up in, clearly remember the day, not the day, but the month. It was June 2002. And two things happened in that hospital room. One, Jacinda was right there with me, and she said, we're going to get through this. And I was like, okay. And I believed her. And then a friend of mine at the time, he said, you know what? God has you here for a reason. Now, to know me now is to know that my relationship with God is at the center of my life. But back then, no one had spoken to me like that. And I believed the both of them. And both of them were right. And so when I experienced that failed suicide attempt, and I woke up and I said, you know what? I have a second chance at life. To know me is to also know that one of my favorite, or if not perhaps my favorite television show of all time, and they don't make TV shows like this anymore, is A Different World. So I remember saying, even from young, I wanted to go away to school. I was always very smart. I went to gifted and talented schools, was always at the top of my class, graduated salutatorian in elementary school, went to, like I said, gifted and talented middle school. Shout out to anyone who went to Philippa Schuyler 383. But it wasn't until high school that I guess I started like doing what teenagers do. So my grades took a hit. But I knew from young, I was like, I want a different world. I knew that what Jacinda showed me was education was the ticket for me to get out the hood. It was the ticket for me to live this lifestyle that I wanted to live. It was a ticket to my success. How was I going to get there? I had no clue. But one thing about me is I'm going to dream big and I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to make sure that I optimize the resources around me to get there. Again, I've always been like this. So at 17, Jacinda introduces me, and she was always telling me about this program. When the moment I got into high school, she was like, there's a program called Options. I'm going to introduce you to that program because it's a college counseling program, right? And I remember being from New York City, I'll be very honest, the school system, they weren't like the way they are now. We didn't have all these programs encouraging us to go to these four-year universities. Our guidance counselors were really swamped. There were thousands of kids in one school. So they kind of just handed us, the application to go to the local CUNY or SUNY. There was no coaching or counsel that was effective to really help young people at the time figure out their collegiate path. So that's where Options came in. So I remember I called and I went and I started going, and they helped me with my college application process, SATs, all those type of things. And it was there that they introduced me to something called the HEOP program. And it was, I was told, hey, this is an opportunity for New York students who live in the state of New York. This is a New York State funded program, I believe so, which gives students a very generous financial aid package and allows students to come into the program who perhaps can't get through the program under the regular or standard requirements, right? So my counselor at Options, and I would get on the train. Anybody in my New Yorkers know I would get on the train to my high school was Claiborne High School. I would get on, I think it was the C train. I would get on the C train, go all the way on the Upper West Side, and that's where the program was. So that's how I got there. So we go and we get in. Like I said, I'm on the train. We figuring it out. They tell me about this HEOP thing. I'm like, all right, cool, bet, copy. Mind you, I'm just winging it. All I know is that Maria wants her a different world, right? And if anybody really wants to hear the story in depth, I talk about it in my book, Take the Limits Off Your Legacy, A Woman's Guide to Unlock Purpose and Vision. It's available on Amazon. I wrote it about 10 years ago. So through the program, there's an opportunity to apply to Hofstra University. And I checked the box, which was the NOAA program, which was their HEOP program at Hofstra University. I didn't know that I was checking the box that was going to lead me to the rest of my life. I apply to Hofstra, do the NOAA program, and I get an opportunity to interview. And I don't remember what the interview was about. Can't remember that, but I remember now by this time it's almost the next year. It's now 2003. So my experience of having my failed suicide attempt had happened the summer of 2002. So now it's spring 2003 and I go all the way up to Hofstra University. I remember, I like to tell my business a little bit. My high school sweetheart was right with me because I didn't know anything about getting to Long Island. I remember he got on the Long Island Railroad with me and we went to the interview together. And I remember all the other students being so nervous. I guess they knew the weight of the opportunity. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. I was just like, okay, cool. I'm going to go in here and whatever these people need to know, I'm going to know. I'm going to answer. So I went into that interview and I told them the story about the year prior, Jacinda being right there with me through my failed suicide attempt. And I think I also mentioned this was my second chance and this was my second chance at life. And I cried and I was like, okay. And I remember coming back on the train and, I kind of left it at that. I wasn't worried about it. I was like, I get in, I don't. But I remember the other students having such a weight. Hey, how are you? Having such a weight on this interview. So, little did I know, that interview, I think happened maybe around April. In about May or so, I'm sleeping and I'm taking a nap in my bedroom. The phone rings. I see it's a 516 number. My mother answers. And for those of you who don't know, I come from an Afro-Latino background. My parents are from the country of Honduras. So I come on and, hi, Isis, I need you to pin something for me. Pin something for me in the comments. I don't know if you can log in through us, but I need you to pin the link to donate, or if you could just comment with the link and then do something like that, because this is your thing, girl. Isis is our social media manager. Isis, wave to us. Isis is our social media. So when you guys interact with us on social media, 85% of the time it is Isis for corresponding. She runs our social media. She's our social media queen. She project manages all of our brand ambassadors that you see. So all of our young women, which I'll get into in a second, she oversees their videos. She oversees all of our social media. She guides. She's just our social media queen. She keeps me on point and she keeps me focused. So that's Isis. And normally, like I said, during our lives is me and Isis. But we will be going live tomorrow with both me and Isis. And then we'll be talking about, some cute, dating during the holidays things. It's not, but, today is just me telling the story. So where was I? So unbeknownst to me, we get a phone call. I hear my mother talking in front of, pero ella está aquí, meaning she's here. And I know my mother enough to know something good was happening. So I picked up the phone and it was the dean from the NOAA program at Hofstra University. She said, Miss Maria Melendez, I'd like to let you know that you have been accepted to Hofstra University. And I was like, huh? And then she was like, you've been accepted through the NOAA program. You got to go through this summer program. And then I remember just being like in shock. And then we go to this orientation, and my mother came with her very broken English, and she was telling her story, and then the tears was tearing, and it was just all tears. And then my mother was like, does my daughter have to pay? Do we have to pay? And then, I ended up taking out loans, but they were like, no, Miss Melendez, like, you don't have to pay for anything. And I remember seeing my mother's face. Like, that was my second chance at life. And I went into the NOAA program at Hofstra University, summer 2003. And I went through a 6-week, like I like to say, academic boot camp. And in those 6 weeks, thank you to the NOAA program, I learned more about my history as a Black, Latina student, and what generations past had sacrificed for my right to an education. And when I walked, and it prepared me to deal with what I would deal with at Hofstra University. And I walked into Hofstra University, not that little girl who tried to end her life, but I walked in as a young woman determined to embrace the legacies of the generation of people who fought, people who lost their lives, people who endured so much for this little Brooklyn girl's right to a college education. I made it my business to become a woman of academic excellence. Yes, I had the fun. Yes, I did all the things, but I was like, no way, I'm going to let this opportunity go. With that being said, I ended up graduating from Hofstra University, May 2008, cum laude. I was on the dean's list almost only one semester. My first semester, I didn't make it. I had a 3.0, but every semester after that, I was on the dean's list because I took my academics seriously. I remember what Jacinda had told me, that my education would be my way out. And that was how I got to college. And like I said, shout out to the NOAA program, shout out to Hofstra University, and shout out to those foundational years in my life, and shout out to Jacinda. So at my senior year at Hofstra University, I landed an internship at Atlantic Records. It was another transformative moment that happened. Summertimes tend to be a little transformative, but this was summer 2007, and I had another transformative moment where I didn't believe I was good enough to really go into a corporate America career. Being a young Black woman, being a young Black Latina woman from the projects of East New York, Brooklyn, I didn't have the blueprint for the level of success that I wanted to achieve. At that time, I grew up very influenced by the hip-hop mogul era, by all these rappers who become these moguls who hailed from the same communities that I either was from, or very familiar with. And I knew I wanted that. I just didn't think I was good enough to get there. And it wasn't until the summer 2007 when I had a conversation with a friend who pretty much told me, Maria, get up and get it together. And that summer I started applying. That was the summer before I graduated from Hofstra. I started applying to internships. I knew I needed a marketing internship. I knew I wanted one so that I could I could start my career and defeat my inner saboteur. So many of us come from places and we listen to this lie that tells you that because you are where you're from, you can't be, you're not good enough, all the things, and those are lies. And I believed that lie until that summer. I said, no, I can't do this. I can't go out and become this music mogul, hip hop record label having type of young woman. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and as God would have it, I ended up with an internship at Atlantic Records, and I walked into that internship again. I knew from years prior this was my second chance. I'm the type of person, what you don't want to do is underestimate me. And what you don't want to do is give me a chance, because if you do, I promise you I will deliver. I don't know how to do anything else. I don't know how to fold. I don't know how to crack under pressure. I may cry. I may fail, but I'm going to get back up again. So I got back up, and I remember in that interview for the internship, I told the then CEO's assistant, not a lick of experience in the music industry. I told her, you hire me, you won't regret it. It's that Brooklyn girl thing. You know what I'm saying? Brooklyn, we go hard. That's how it happened. So she hired me on the spot. And I got the internship. So I would intern in the city. I was working in the city, also finishing my last year at Hofstra University, which resulted in me being offered a job at Atlantic Records. And I graduated from Hofstra University, I believe, May 19th, 2008. And I walked in the next day, May 20th, 2008, into my job as a coordinator in marketing and radio promotion. Over the years, now, during my time, it was my dream job. But unfortunately, one of the things I experienced in the music industry at the time was the lack of women empowerment. I thought those type of things were over. But when you get into spaces, especially at that time, this is, 16, 17, 15, 14 years ago, with women and women of color, more often than not, we would see each other as competition instead of as collaborators. And that is when the inception of EmbraceHerLegacy happened, because I knew I was one of the things when I started my career, even back then, I was smart enough to know I didn't know everything. I didn't know anything about, again, my parents loved them. They did a great job and took me as far as they could go. But I didn't come from a family of CEOs. You know what I'm saying? I didn't come from a family of corporate America. I didn't come from a family of show me how to invest in stocks and Roth IRAs and retirement. I didn't entrepreneurship. That wasn't really those conversations that we were having back then. So I was smart enough to know that it was important for me to align myself with women who had already blazed their own trails and blazed their own path, who were going to help me get to where I wanted to go. Financially, a career, personally, all those things. So I started looking for mentors. Now, Jacinda was still in my life, and there are books. You see, guys, there's this one book, and I'm going to just show you guys. There are books on this shelf that Jacinda and her, I say, group of women would pour into me and tell me to read. So I even knew about people like Susie Orman, the Money Book for the Young, Fabulous, and Broke. I was just a sponge because I wanted to break generational patterns and be the first to achieve a certain level of success that, again, was never modeled to me, so that I can be the architect of my own legacy, and my children and my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and even my communities, everyone will benefit from. So I looked for that in the music industry, and I found it eventually. But for the majority of the time, it wasn't like that. It was very catty. It was very competitive, especially, unfortunately, with women that look like each other, and that's kind of where I started doing events. And I named my business EmbraceHerLegacy, which came out of me watching Oprah Legends Ball a couple of years earlier. And I said, one day I'm either going to do something like that for women, or women are going to do something like that for me. Like, either one day I'm going to be honored, or I'm going to make sure I'm honoring the legacy, of women who have come before me and opened doors. And that's where EmbraceHerLegacy came. So like I said, I was in the industry. And I started doing a lot of work around women empowerment through EmbraceHerLegacy. I started getting like-minded young women like myself who were just trying to figure out life together in rooms. And it also became I became synonymous with projects that were, especially in the music and entertainment industry, that were women related. So if the target demo was women, or if there was a woman or young people type event, give it to Maria. She'll know what to do with it. And that's what my brand became synonymous with. Over the years in the music industry, I've become more and more frustrated with my job. And then I have an experience, an encounter with God where I know he's telling me, hey, take this leap of faith. I need you to focus on this thing called Embrace Her Legacy, and I need you to do it full time. I had no idea what I was doing then, but over the years, when I took the leap of faith, one thing led to another, and I was just faithful with the call. I didn't know what I was doing, nor did I think I would be doing what I'm doing now. When I started, it wasn't necessarily about young women. I was getting like-minded women like myself, teaching classes online, courses, ebooks, those type of things, and I wanted to continue down that path. And in that, I remember I partnered with an organization that is still one of our longtime partners. I just finished volunteering for one of their speed networking events, the Opportunity Network. I learned about them on Twitter. And I remember because their college and career readiness program, it reminded me of the NOAA program. And I said, hey, I would like to do an event around International Day of the Girl with the fellows, the young women fellows in your organization. And they agreed. And through that, as well as my background in the music industry, I would get a lot of calls to speak at schools, community organizations. A lot of young women started gravitating towards me for mentorship. Again, I am speaking on stages. I've never taken a public speaking course. I don't think so. I wasn't trained to do this, but I just started getting calls, and then I also started getting press for what I was doing. I started getting features in like Essence and Latina back in it was Heart and Soul. And then I started getting money to do these type of things. I started getting sponsorships from like the Essence magazines. And I also started getting sponsorships from just all sorts of corporations and banks that were really supporting the work I was doing in these events around kind of personal development with me speaking and teaching and building the confidence of young women. And it was one of my mentors, again, by the grace of God, I did meet, and I still have to this day, amazing mentors that I met in the music industry and mentors that I've just cultivated over the years. And she said something to me one Saturday morning, because we would have a Saturday morning call. And she said, Maria, I'm going to need you to pay attention. She said, this thing called Embrace Her Legacy, you need to focus on working with young women. First, that's where your money's coming from right now. People are, talking about, you're getting this press, you're getting this feature, this is what you should be doing. And I was like, huh? Because at the time, what you guys know as the Embrace Her Legacy Academy, at that time, I was making that same program, but for women. And she said something to me, and I was 27 years young. And she said, Maria, you're still becoming a woman yourself. Focus on working with the young women. And while it wasn't hurtful, it was helpful. It wasn't what I wanted to hear. She was right. And I paid attention to her. And I changed that coaching program to a program for high school girls. And I just went, again, by this time I'm speaking at the schools. I'm doing my own little events with they're not little, I'm doing my own events around young women and mentorships. And they're asking me questions. And I'm like, why aren't they teaching you this in your schools? Like, why aren't they teaching you basic financial literacy? Why aren't they? And this is back when mental health and social emotional development, they weren't as prevalent and as popular as they were in schools now. Back then. This is, 10 years ago. So I decided to have a program. And we launched, first funny story, we launched in summer of 2015, and only one girl applied. I cried, and after I cried, I realized that our marketing strategy sucked. When we revamped our marketing strategy and we launched in the fall of 2015, I launched then it was called the Made to Succeed Academy. It was a Saturdays program. for young women ages 14 to 19. And I partnered with different organizations, and it was a hit. It was a hit, and it was a Saturday. And these girls would come faithful for 6 Saturdays straight. And they said something. They said, Maria, we want more. Now, what y'all don't know is that when I deliver a program, whether it's in the fall or the summer or the spring, and it's 6, 10, however many weeks, by that last week, your girl is tired. I'm like, okay, I'm tired, but when they said, we want more, I was like, okay, there's something here. And I cultivated the curriculum myself, doing my own research, and honestly, I learned, so I teach. What had worked in personal development and confidence building for me, and I would call on my different colleagues, and I would call on people in my network to come and be guest speakers. An amazing group of women who just pour out into these young women, and it became a hit. And next thing I knew, we had the EmbraceHerLegacy Academy, which started as a Saturdays program, and now it has reached I believe close to 200 young women all over this country. And that is how the EmbraceHerLegacy Academy came about. And it wasn't and then in that time, again, I went with Faithful to the Call. This is for people who, you just got to start, man. Faithful to the Call. So 2015, I'm doing programs for young women. Again, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to say I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm saying I'm learning. And in that time, I started getting questions about becoming a nonprofit. And baby, let me tell you, I did not want to be a nonprofit, because all I heard was nonprofit. And all I heard was trying to fundraise and getting a board. And honestly, at the core of it, it was kind of pride. Because, I didn't want to humble myself and go back to, go back to school and learn and about nonprofit. I'm a girl that comes from media entertainment. What you mean become a nonprofit? But again, in early 2018, I acquiesced to what I knew would be best for the young woman that I serve, and I decided to transition EmbraceHerLegacy from a for-profit to a nonprofit. I knew that would open up funding opportunities for the young woman, and I just knew I would always acquiesce to what was best for them. And through that, I also knew it was probably best that I go back to school. And I went back and I got my Master's of Public Administration from NYU Wagner. And that's when I became, I guess, like I like to say, a newborn in the nonprofit space, really learning about board development, fundraising, nonprofit structure, nonprofit management, just different, I would say, compliance practices, these type of things. I really immersed myself into being the leader of this nonprofit organization, and that was back in 2018 going into 2019. So now where are we? I'm proud to say that EmbraceHerLegacy is now a international organization. We've served about 2,500 women and girls in the New York City tri-state area through our programs, through our coaching, through our mentorship. And our mentorship is really organic. It's something that we just allow. We just bring in these amazing men and women who come in to be guest speakers at our programs to connect with these young women. We have reached 15,000 women and girls nationwide and internationally through our podcast, through our YouTube, our social media. We have our master class workshops, which are personal development and leadership development and confidence building workshops that we teach to young women on college campuses, at organizations, corporations around the country. We also have had a podcast. We've been able to accomplish great things. And I realized that all started because I have the privilege and the honor and the blessing to be who Jacinda was to me, to young women all over the world. And that's how we got to be. I couldn't have been here without not only Jacinda, but the dozens of women who support me, who believe in me, who come speak to the girls, who pour into me. And, you know, while I can sit here and tell you the numbers, what gets me most is when I get emails from the young women and how the work is working. Whether we had someone, one of our 2024 legends, that's what I call the girls who participate in our programs. We had one of our 2024 legends. She is one of now our brand ambassadors. So the young women who participate in the Embrace Her Legacy Academy get called our legends. And that is me speaking life over them. So they also get an opportunity to become brand ambassadors, receive our college scholarships, all those type of things. And this young woman, I remember her being so reserved and timid at the beginning of the program in summer 2024, which we had the privilege of bringing back in person in New York City after delivering the program virtually for a couple of years. And I remember she didn't know what major she wanted to declare in college. She's now a college sophomore. But I saw her absorb this opportunity and sit with her journal. For those of you who want to know, the Embrace Her Legacy journal. I would see her sit with her journal and just take in everything every guest speaker was talking about, everything that I was teaching over those 2 weeks in July. And she emailed me not too long after I think at the beginning of the fall, she said, "Miss Maria, just know that Embrace Her Legacy gave me the confidence to declare my major." And she's also, I see her, she creates a lot of our brand ambassador videos, and I see her confidence just shine through. And to me, to be this regular schmegular Brooklyn girl, to be able to impact young women from all diverse backgrounds. You know, we have girls who are from all over the world and who hail from different races, different ethnicities. And to be able to connect with them in a way that resonates with them is special. It's the electricity of Embrace Her Legacy. We've been able to intervene with young women who were struggling with suicide ideation. We've been able to give scholarships to young women whose parents have fallen ill, or, you know, young women who unfortunately parents are no longer with us, right? These young women, the fact that I get to be entrusted with shape-shifting their legacy is truly amazing. So with 10 years, did I tell you we helped the girl get into Harvard? She didn't have the confidence to get in, but she applied, and we introduced her to one of our previous board members who graduated from Harvard Law. And that's another thing that we do at Embrace Her Legacy. I'm very intentional of exposing these young women to professional men and women who look like them and who share similar lived experiences, who can be a model of success. The one I didn't have, right? I read it in books. But they can be that model of success for them. And we were able to do that with this one situation with a young woman who didn't feel confident to get into Harvard, and she did after we connected her with one of our previous board members who went to Harvard Law, and guided her through the college application process. And when I got that text, I cried on my living room floor. So those are the things that matter, right? Oh God, there's so many stories. Girls texting me, "Miss Maria, I got the confidence to go teach English in Costa Rica." I'm like, that's beautiful, man. And I think for me as a leader, I underestimate the power of what we do at Embrace Her Legacy. But now I'm calling on your support. I'm calling to action so that we can continue the work of Embrace Her Legacy. 2025, the theme of our 2025 is "It Stops With Me." And how did that theme come about? Kind of similar to how I realized the story and the inception behind Embrace Her Legacy. And for those of you can always go back and listen to the replay. But I was trying to, because our audience is growing both in size and in impact, 3 ways, and in age. So we have that high school program for young women ages 14 to 19, but that's just a piece. It's just a branch off the Embrace Her Legacy tree. And I have women who are in their 20s and, millennials in their 30s. Like, gosh, if I had something like this, I wish I had something like this for my age. Or if I had something like this when I was 16, 17, I would have avoided so many mistakes. So with that being said, I wanted to serve this growing audience. And again, always trying to figure out what's best for the people that we serve. And that's when I decided to bring on our first annual conference that will be happening next year, called Embrace Her Legacy Live. It'll be like a masterclass workshop. And then when I was thinking of the theme, I was thinking, what is it that everyone... Hi, Peyton! Oh, how are you, Peyton? Is one of our 2024 legends. So I was thinking of a theme that would connect a woman that was 35 or 18-year-old. And one of the things I recognize in all women and girls that I speak to when I ask, what do you want? What's your success? It's normally, I want to be the one in my family to break the generational cycle of, right? I want to be the one to leave some sort of mark. So my family doesn't have to, my children don't have to go through the same thing I went through. Or I can help my parents so that they don't have to work so hard the way they had to do. They want to build something better for themselves and their families. That's the beauty of investing into girls and into investing into women. You're not investing into her. You're investing into her legacy, into her bloodline, into her family, into her community, because she's going to go and she's going to make change and she's going to make something happen, especially when she come in contact with Embrace Her Legacy, and especially when she come in contact with me, because I'm going to make sure she has the tools to make it happen, So that's the beauty of supporting Embrace Her Legacy. And that's when I said to myself, I said, it stops with me. And what do I mean that? I mean, these generational cycles that are riddled with poverty, with low self-esteem, low self-worth, or financial lack, or, working hard with no type of real reward. These things that run in our bloodline that we're just like, that stops with me, and I want to cultivate and create this legacy of wealth, financially is good, but not just financially, but wholeness inside of me, self-confidence inside of me. When I have my children, I don't want them to have to deal with the same inner saboteurs that I dealt with, right? Every woman, every girl wants the best for herself and wants the best for the family to, like I said, break those generational cycles and start to be the architect of cycles that are empowering, where it's breaking cycles of unhealthy mental health, dysfunctional family patterns, getting the help, getting the tools, getting the resources that they need to succeed both professionally, academically, financially, personally. And I love this generation for how we have normalized establishing healthy mental health patterns. So that's why the theme is, it stops with me. And I encourage anyone who's listening to think about what stops with you and what legacy it is, what imprint are you leaving? We make a big mistake to think that we all have all the time in the world, but whether you like it or not, you are living out your legacy right now. How is it that you want to be remembered? What are you doing today so that your future self can thank you for? I was on a Zoom with our partner organization, and these 16-year-olds were talking about being neuroscientists. I said, wow, look at that. But one thing I kept saying to them, I said, your future self is going to thank you for the decisions that you are making. So whether you decide to give, to support, Embrace Her Legacy or not, I want to know, what are you doing so that you can become the architect of this legacy of love, of wealth, of confidence, of forgiveness, of joy, of prosperity? What is it that you're doing? Every day you have a decision to make. Your life is the sum totals of the decisions that you make. And if you want to change the quality of your life, you have to change the quality of your thinking. What is it that you are going to decide to do better tomorrow? What is it that you want? Where are you going to be different a year from now? What can you do? How can you invest into yourself? And that's why I love Embrace Her Legacy, because we get to invest into these young women who I teach them. We teach them these things. And you know what? We want to grow. And we want to do more of that. So what the things that we're doing in 2025, like I said, our theme is It Stops With Me. And we really want to hone in on this conversation of building legacies of love, of wealth, of confidence, of joy, of health, of good mental health, all the things. Ending cycles. And another thing, we want to bring back our college scholarship funding. Unfortunately, for the year 2024, we had budget cuts and we weren't able to give our college scholarship this year. That hurt as a leader. But, you know, with the support that we get from those people, all of you around the world, hopefully, and we will, I'll make it my business to bring that back in 2025. And like I said, we want to build on this message of really, it stops with me, and building these beautiful generational legacies. So I'm launching Embrace Her Legacy Online University, with the first thing being Goal School in January, where I'm going to be teaching a lot of what we teach in person. We're going to give access to now women and girls, young women all over the world, a login and access where they can come take our master class courses, and they can learn starting in January with Goals School. I might name it Goals University, but you guys know it's something with goals. And understanding the importance of, and the power of, and the impact of setting impactful goals and giving them the tools and the resources. Because baby, January 1st, everybody talking about is a new year, new me. By January 20th, it's the old you, same old things. And that's because we're not taught effective goal setting strategies. And I'm going to take them on a journey. I'm going to take them on a journey over the couple weeks in January, and that's the launch of Embrace Her Legacy Online University. We also are going to be celebrating 10 years of the Embrace Her Legacy Academy next year, which is our flagship program for young women ages 14 to 19. I already mentioned our Embrace Her Legacy Live Masterclass Conference will also be happening, and that'll be for women primarily ages 18 to 35, and we're going to really focus on helping women declare it stops with me, with a panel of speakers and guests, and really experiencing the electricity of Embrace Her Legacy in person. We'll be having our second annual Empower Her You College Week next fall, with workshops and panels that inspire collegiate women in confidence and leadership development. And hopefully, by the grace of God, our first annual girls trip. And that will be a mastermind for women ready to propel themselves and their legacies forward. With me as the keynote speaker, I'll find somewhere cute and fun and warm for us to go to build and help each other really embrace living our legacies. So that's what your donation, your support, your investment into Embrace Her Legacy will be about this year. And how can you support us? I'm glad you asked. You can visit EmbraceHerLegacy.com, hit the donate tab, and you can make your donation there. Make your best gift. People are under the false assumption that, I don't have enough money. $5, if it's $5 or $5 million, anywhere in between, it all matters. You can show your support by investing into women and girls, and investing into Embrace Her Legacy through supporting donations there. We also, the link to donate and invest in change and become champions in change and empower generations of young women to come. The link is also in our bio if you're watching this on Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube on the replay, it'll be in the descriptions, but in the description section. While I prefer not, but I know that it is a lot more convenient for people if you prefer to make your gift through cashapp. The cashapp is $EmbraceHerLegacy1, $EmbraceHerLegacy1. So those are all the things on how you can invest into Embrace Her Legacy this year. I just want to say, and it's Giving Tuesday, and I hope that if you see this today, or if it's 2 weeks from now, if it's 2 months from now, that you really make a decision to come alongside us and be one of our match made in legacy donors. This is definitely a relationship between us and those who support us financially. Thank you for believing in me. If you've been watching for the last 54 minutes, thank you. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for standing with us. Thank you for making sure that together we can say every woman and every girl deserves to live her legacy unapologetically. Thank you. I'm really excited to see you guys join me in creating this ripple effect of change and action for generations to come. And as I just talked about 2025, I got tired. So I need the support. I need the support to really bring on people, even on the team, to help me propel this vision forward. This is not easy work. And it was sometimes it would be really beneficial to have more hands on deck to make sure more of this gets multiplied and done and executed and delivered with deliverance. For those of you who don't know, if you're interested, we have our Embrace Her Legacy, our legacy journals. There's a letter that was written by, this is my own journal. I wrote the letter in the first page. It's really a heartfelt letter. It took me months of writing and rewriting that letter because I want this journal for women around the country, because women and girls around the country, because we're not international shipping right now, to really take this journal and write out their legacy. When I was challenging you earlier about what legacy do you want to leave? How do you want to be remembered? What impact do you want to leave? I want women and girls to use these blank pages. And like I said it at the beginning. I'm going to read to you guys the first page. I say, hey, legendary lady, I'm so proud of you. Whatever you choose to use this journal for, I trust that the person who you are now is going to beautifully evolve into who you were predestined to be. I want you to look at this journal as not just paper and ink, but as a preview of the even more fabulous you that's yet to emerge. And I meant that with all of my heart. You can get these at shop.EmbraceHerLegacy.com. The link is also in our bio and in the description if you're watching on YouTube. And if you go to our website, there's a link to our store there too at EmbraceHerLegacy.com. I believe that's it. We'll also be going live tomorrow and a few other times before the year is over, just sharing some wisdom, some encouragement, some motivation, some support. Tomorrow's live, it will be myself and Isis. We'll be talking about dating during the holiday season. I think it's important to really make sure that we are empowering our audience with the things that, we wish we would have learned. Because I wish somebody would have told me half the things that I know now in my big age. I wish I'd have learned them at 21. And I think that's it. If anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot us a DM, or you can always email us directly at hello, HELLO, at EmbraceHerLegacy.com. HELLO at EmbraceHerLegacy.com if anyone's interested in partnering with us, whether it's corporate support, foundation support, volunteering, having us come speak at your school, organization, church, wherever we go with calls. Please make sure to follow us. Please make sure to subscribe if you're on YouTube. I love you all, guys. I love all you guys to life, as I like to say. And thank you again. I really do appreciate you all for rocking out with me for an hour and hearing the Embrace Her Legacy story and where it started with my first mentor, Jacinda. If anything else pops up, I'll let you know. But I look forward to your support for us to help, for us to continue helping women and girls embrace their legacy all over the world for 2025 and beyond.